Hello everyone, my name is Tony, and today we're taking the Vintage Tone White Fuzz Germanium edition for a ride here at the Vintage Tone testing studio. And since the fuzz was invented and many of the publicity around it was mentioning make your guitar sound like a cello, we figured why not test the pedal with an actual cello and see what is what. So first things first, Vintage Tone White Fuzz, it's a very simple, minimalistic fuzz. In this specific occasion, we are testing the one with a germanium capacitor. It has only 3 knobs, 2 of which are very self-explanatory, and the third one has some twist to it. Output is, as the name suggests, just the volume of how loud the pedal is going to hit the amp. Fuzz is the gain stage, pretty self-explanatory as well. But the third one says bias. The bias alters, controls the amount of voltage that is sent to the second capacitor within the pedal. So this can create something from a very open, very wide, even very noisy with some single coil guitars sound, to this effect where the pedal is dying, like as if you had, say, a vintage style fuzz face on a battery that is dying. That's pretty much the effect that we're gonna get on this one. Right now I have the output at noon, I have the gain maybe at 2, and the bias is somewhere between 10 and 11 if you're thinking of a clock. This is what it sounds like. First, this is the clean tone. H the pedal. So from the get-go, we can notice how the white fuzz is an incredibly clear fuzz. I mean, yes, it is a fuzz and it will distort your signal a lot. But it honors the sound of your instrument and it will let it pass through in a very clear fashion, in a sense that you can understand how each note is sounding, if that makes any sense to you. It does to me. That's one of the things that I like about this kind of fuzz, or this specific little guy, when I'm playing the electric cello. Since the cello is a very rich instrument when it comes to harmonics, it is very simple for me to overplay a fuzz. Many of us know that when you play complex chords, like think of a jazzy chord, fuzz pedals don't tend to work really well because the signal just clips everywhere and nothing sounds super clear. So that happens whenever I'm playing any fuzz with the cello. On this one, it just so happens that it works nicely, and I can also play chords on the cello with the bow while still keeping enough clarity. Every note is right there, and it sounds good. Another thing that happens on stringed instruments is that on my bowing hand, my downstroke and my upstroke, if you think from a recording perspective or from a signal flow perspective, it changes the phase, and this creates a challenge whenever you're playing with dirt pedals, because a lot of the times the downstroke sounds great, but the upstroke sounds thin and like very trebly, as if you had some sort of treble booster, and that's not particularly pleasant, especially if you are just changing the sound constantly by how you bow, and that doesn't happen with this one. So you can see also the low end remains right there. So this pedal works great on electric bass. Lastly, the bias knob. I haven't spoken about that yet. As I mentioned earlier, this one controls how much voltage goes to the second capacitor. If we have it at 0, this is what it does. Take it all the way up, then I compensate the volume a little bit. It sounds as if your 9-volt battery was dying on you. There's a sweet spot that I like, somewhere around here. Take the fuzz all the way up, output a little bit down just to compensate. And this is what happens when you take the pedal and you take the gain all the way up. You can think the pedal is going to be loud, it's going to be noisy, but it's also very dynamic, and that's very important. Right here I'm using a volume pedal, so you can see how it cleans up. So there you have it, Vntage white fuzz, Germanium. They also have a silicone one, but this is the Germanium version. Thank you very much, and of course, welcome to the Vntage Testing Studio. See you next time.